Alright guys, well, this is Koda. Alright, so we're out here in the wilderness. We're a fishing area for out here in Kansas. We are to introduce you to our new Jeep. She is a 2006 Jeep Commander. With all, I guess with all the bells and whistles in 2006. I think the only thing we're missing is the infotainment center. But it hasn't been all sunshine and rainbows with a new Jeep. Of course, with any new Jeep, never really is. A couple days after we got it, I told you in the previous video that it blew an exhaust valve and scored up the cylinder walls. So far, we're averaging through in town and some highway driving about 400 miles per quart of oil that we're running into. So roughly about a gallon. Every time we empty the fuel tank, we would have to put a quart of oil in. On the interstate, we did about 600 miles before we had to put a quart of oil in it. So still not a lot more than I'm comfortable with, but I don't have the money to go and buy a brand new Hemi and drop it into this Jeep. But overall though, we've had it for almost 3 weeks now, and it's been a huge stress relief. We were outgrowing all the other rigs that we had, and so we were praying about getting. We've been looking for this commander for a very long time, and been praying, trying to get the right one, that best fit the family, best fit our needs, and then a little selfishness about aesthetically pleasing. I wanted one that was aesthetically pleasing, really nice looking inside and outside. And out here, they tend to run between $10,000 to $15,000 for a high-end model, and we wanted the Overland one because we wanted the best of the best, the better suspension system, the better transfer case, and just all the other stuff. Well, we didn't get an Overland one. We did get a Limited, but it was the high trim for 2006. The Overland didn't come out until I think a year or two later. But overall, it still has 4-low. It still has a live axle in the rear. It has IFS up front, which isn't what I would personally would like. But saying that we're not going to be doing a whole lot of off-roading with this Jeep, I wouldn't say we wouldn't do any off-roading, but that's not what we got her for. We got her to tote the family around, tow the other Jeeps too. Say there's a place down here called Disney. It's a huge off-road public land area. There's also K-Rocks here in Kansas in Fort Scott. Huge rock garden style off-roading. Something that I'm not particularly going to take the Commander in and do, but what we will probably be doing is having her tow Kathryn, our 95 Grand Cherokee, if you haven't been following, to those places, and we'll be able to off-road those. So that's kind of what our goal is with this. Now, a little bit of off-roading here and there, some little bit of trail riding, a little here and there. Like out here, this is a fishing area, and so going a little off-roading out here to go fishing. Perfect. This Jeep is perfect for this. Perfect for the family, allowing us to fit all of us in there without cramming or just being discomforted. Koda, what we named this Jeep, this allows us to do a lot more with that. It allows us to go through and be able to put everyone in comfortably. And the thing is honestly, she's an answer to our prayers. I want to be very clear. This might sound hokey, this might sound crazy, but you know what? When it comes to the testimony of God, it's not hokey. Now, I want to let you guys know what's going on. We prayed and prayed and prayed about this. We were planning on going to Oregon this year with Kathryn, and then going and picking up a Commander in Oregon and driving both Jeeps back. It was cheaper. We found actually a 2006 Limited over there with everything. Also, I think without the infotainment center. It was just almost a spitting image of this, just without the lift kit. This has a 2-inch lift on it, and not a puck lift, an actual proper lift on it. So every time we make plans, like especially like when we want to go to Oregon or go long distance driving, it just seems to decide to throw a tantrum and make it where we can't do it. And so it got to a point where we weren't 100% sure what's wrong with my Jeep. I think we figured it out, waiting for parts to come in, fix it, go from there. But so we were praying, and this Jeep comes up on our marketplace, and it was $2,000 more than what we were planning on spending in Oregon. And with gas, we were calculating and being conservative, saying, hey, we might use more gas than what we're planning on. And so we were aiming, thinking that we're going to use about $2,000 in gas, running around all over Oregon, getting there and getting back, so on and so forth, seeing friends and family and camping and all the good jazz. So we're like, well, if we don't go to Oregon, this saves us money on gas. But then it also had a lift kit, so that saves us money too. So we're like, well, this is great. We talked to the guy was pretty chill about it, and so we're like, we started praying, like, okay, if this is something that we have the money for, we can do it. But the logistics, we needed to make sure the logistics worked out. My working schedule makes it hard to really do anything except for plan weeks and weeks ahead and see if we can manage to do it. The working schedule is I'm on call for 12 hours every day, except for like Sundays and Mondays. And so we're like, okay, let's see if we can find the logistics for it. And the guy was willing to meet us up on Friday, right after I do my yard shift, and I get off at like 2 and rush down there. They had it in Fayetteville. It was like a 2-hour drive down there, 2.5 hour, maybe 3-hour drive, down to Fayetteville, and then pick it up in there. And he was super awesome about that. So we're like, okay, cool. The logistics are working out. So Tuesday we talked to our bank, told them that there's no local branch here, so we had to pull everything out at ATMs. So I told them, hey, we're going to be pulling this money out of the ATMs, so there's no fraudulent flag or anything else like that. They gave us the go-ahead. There was just enough ATMs in town to pull the amount of money we needed for this Jeep, because every ATM has a maximum amount that you can pull every day. And so we had just enough to pull the money out for this Jeep. I mean, perfect. By noon Tuesday, we had all the money in our pocket. Right, great, cool, we're all set. Then I get a phone call to do a trip. Take a train crew. Oh, it was a dog catch crew trip. So taking them from the train yard to go pick up another train, bring it back to the yard, take them from the yard to another train, and it's a 12-hour ordeal. Well, if you go over 12 hours, you're automatically thrown into what they call rest. And so it made it where I was thrown in a rest on Wednesday. Wednesday's my 3 a.m. to 3 p.m. day. And I was thrown in a rest. And the great thing about that was that allowed us to go to Fayetteville on Wednesday to go pick up this Jeep. We picked it up we went to Fayetteville, asked the guy if we can meet him early. He said, sure. Went and picked him up, looked at the Jeep, and everything was great. And the guy says that he had a whole bunch of other people that were willing to trade things in for it, or everything. But he's like, I had this He said it before I told him about what I'm telling you about, how God feels like this is something we needed to grab. And he said to me that it's just something about it that I had to get this to you. It was like he's like, everything said I had to get this to you, even though he had thousands of responses for this Jeep. And so then I told him what I'm telling you guys about how we prayed about it and how the logistics of getting the Jeep came, just worked itself out. Them having the money, not losing the money on Monday, and being able to grab all the money out on the ATMs. It's just everything worked perfectly. So much so that you can't not give credit to God. So we picked up the Jeep, drove it home, drove great, and drove around Wednesday, Thursday, and it ran beautifully. Normally, I'll go and do a full fluid dump, like change everything, all fluids, all filters, everything gets greased, everything gets touched with a new car, or with a used car. And so we were going to get paid on that Monday. So we're like, okay, we'll do it Monday. It's Thursday, going into Friday. Friday, the wife needed to go to Branson, Missouri for a women's Bible retreat with our church. And so we're like, cool, that's what I got this Jeep for. Take the Jeep. I still have the Challenger to drive around. And Kathryn is running, but not happy about it. So we still had 2 running rigs at home. Take the Jeep. She takes the Jeep. And the church, she helps the church out. So she loads the stuff up for the church for the Bible study, or for the Bible camp, or the women's retreat. And she heads to Branson. She gets halfway there. And that's when we started having the exhaust valve had its issue. Well, this is where some people will shake their head, where I'm taking it as God telling me just don't do it. We were worried about going to Oregon in the first place as new Christians. I'm not saying that we're new. It was more of a different kind of new. We used to go to church all the time. We believed in God. But we never opened our Bible. We never did Bible study at home. We never really got deep into it. The military calls us a dog tag Christian. He says you're a Christian, but that's as far as it went. And in Oregon, we definitely, when we were much thinner, much more in shape, much younger, we were definitely feeding our flesh there. And there was a lot of people there that knew that they wanted to see us, we would probably run into them, that facilitated that flesh. And we were worried about us not being able to control our flesh compared to having that conviction in our heart. Because in the last year or so, we started going back to church. We started going deeper into the Word. We started becoming better educated in God, getting to know our Father, getting to know Christ. And probably some of you who are not Christians, I'm not trying to push you guys away. If anything, I want to bring you guys in and tell you how much I love you. I'm not going to push this on you. I want to be I'm going to lead by example. So I want to make sure that you guys, and I'm not perfect. I won't ever be perfect. I'll make my mistakes. I'll cuss a little here, a little there. I'll try not to. But we were worried about entertaining our flesh if we went back to Oregon. And I think the engine having its problem, which wiped out the rest of our money to fix, killed our trip to Oregon. Now, the great thing about God is that even if you really, really wanted to go, even if you really, really pushed it, He will still let it happen. And we have means to still go to Oregon and be able to still have fun doing the camping and everything else that we were still originally planning on doing, but it would be at a much lower cost, and we would only be taking one Jeep, not two, or keeping our visitations down. So if we still go, it's because God still wants us to, he loves us enough to allow us to do stuff like that. But I feel like the engine having its problems, our money being pretty much gone, it's his way of saying, hey, look, I don't think you're ready to confront that, because we still might entertain our flesh, and I don't want to do that. So that's our conviction about how we got the Jeep and why we're probably not going to go to Oregon. There's probably way more than you guys probably care for, but I wanted to share that because that's the story of how we end up getting Koda. And Koda is, I believe, Dakota for friend or ally, Native American. So I think it fits because God provided this Jeep for us in a way, in a means that we needed it at the most. We had, I mean, everything was dominoed. I mean, if you don't believe in coincidences, it was just perfect. Everything was there. Everything happened the way it's supposed to happen. And so I just wanted to bring that to you, so you have an idea of how we feel about this Jeep. She's new to us. We're still going to put her through her paces. We might take her off-roading a little bit here, a little bit there, just there. But she does have some issues that we do need to address. She does need new struts, new shocks. There's stuff missing, like the engine cover. It says Hemi, nothing spectacular. The interior is in perfect condition. There's a couple air vents that could be replaced. No rips in the seats. The driver's side's worn. You can see that it has some worn cracks in it, but not ripped. But overall, though, I weirdly enough, I never really found the Commander as an attractive Jeep. But driving this around, having the power of the Hemi underneath it, the sound is amazing. It just has a 2-inch lift on it, so it's just tall enough to make you feel like you're, not driving some other normal SUV. It just, to me, it just feels like a good looking Jeep. The front end, I've always had a weird feeling, a weird love-hate with this front end. The square circle inline lights just kind of, it reminds me too much of the KK Liberties, and I'm not a big fan of the KK Liberties at all. But the KK Liberty looks like a miniature version of the Commander. So, I mean, I just want to say that, hey, God's great. God provides, and he definitely provided for the family this time, and in a tremendous way. It's probably, like I said, I don't know how some of you feel about it, but that's where we are. That's how we feel, and you guys can try to take that as you are, but I feel like this Jeep is God's gift to us, to allow us to be able to be less stressed out. That's kind of where things are at. That's kind of a rundown of what's going on. I want you to meet Koda. Koda is our newest Jeep. Hopefully everything goes great. I don't see any other foreseen future problems with her. Got to update get some of the worn out parts fixed on it, and outside of that, it's been great. So thank you for sticking around, listening to our story of how Koda became part of our fleet, and hopefully you guys stick around as we get back on schedule about posting these videos and putting them on there, and just like and subscribe and share.
Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe.